It's not going great so far. No, I'm not saying a bad word. Seed pasture. I'm getting ready to start setting plants out in the garden. We surprisingly had a snow last week, so I'm glad that I hadn't already set some out. They've just been getting used to the elements on the back porch, so it's covered. They couldn't get snow or frost, and if it got too cold, I would bring them in. But I haven't really discussed that much with you guys since I brought the seedlings out from the bathroom, I guess, out from the greenhouse that I made in our spare bathroom. So I'll show you those, how they're doing. But first I wanted to show you something I'm super excited about. We ordered Premier One's electric fence netting for our sheepers. So far that it's working. I mean, we have it grounded in several spots, which if you know anything about electric fencing, if it's grounded, it weakens it. It's still great. I mean, everyone's gotten shocked by it. They're respecting it. They're doing really well. But the area we put it in, it's down here in a holler. So their pasture's up here. They've never been in like a thick wooded area before, and that's how this is. So it's taken them a little bit to get used to it. So I'm just standing down here trying to get them kind of, you know, warmed up to the area. But it's not going great so far. But we love the fence. It's doing a fantastic job. It's so easy to set up. We got 2 rolls. I'll have to find the exact one and I'll put the link down in the comments so you guys can see it. But we got one of the generic ones. It's not really made specifically for a certain animal. It's the same height, so 35 inches, as their sheep specific fence. But they were back ordered for like 3 weeks on it, so we wanted to hurry up and just order what they had. Only downfall I don't like about it is the spacing between the posts. So that white post and the next one's all the way down there. So we've been putting these tobacco sticks in just to help kind of support it, because if it leans over, it grounds out a little bit quicker. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that because I'm so excited about it. Now hopefully we can convince these guys to come down here and actually eat. But since one of them got shocked, they're terrified. But now I will head up there and start on seeds. Okay, so to start off, I am going to take my buckets, which if you'd like to know where these are from, no, I didn't get the really expensive ones, the actual muck buckets. These are $5 at Walmart, so yeah, good investment. These will last for several years for just planting potatoes. But I'm going to start by creating drain holes on the bottom. So I'm just going to do probably 6 or 7 holes in a circle on the bottom. These are going to be sitting out in the rain. If it rains, it's not just going to fill up with water and kill everything. It's going to be able to drain out and keep the moisture levels in check for the most part. You'll still have to water them obviously because it will drain out, but it's not going to fill up. I'd rather something get too dry than too wet, because you can always add water versus get it out. You can't really get the water out. So I'm going to go ahead and drill those holes in here, and then I'm going to head to the garden to get some dirt. Got my holes drilled. They're not exactly even, but yeah, now water can drain out and I don't have to worry about my potatoes getting drowned. Yes, I know it's a little late to still be putting potatoes and stuff in the ground. Most plants, it's about right, maybe a week behind. We're working on trying to buy another farm, and it's just down the road, but you know, if we find out we're gonna buy it and then in 2 months move, we won't even get to harvest any of the garden that we've planted and worked so hard for. So I'm doing what I can to get plants into pots so we could take them with us. Starting with potatoes. We eat a lot of potatoes. So if I can fill these up with dirt, they'll be heavy, but we can at least take them with us versus leaving them here and hoping that the buyers of our farm actually know how to garden and can take care of it. Yes, I'm passionate about it. I could definitely show them, but having someone actually take care of something that you've you've really worked hard for, it kind of sucks to just leave it behind. And then 2, it's hard to start over. So if we go down there and we have to completely start from scratch, from seeds, or if we even go and spend the money from like, you know, Lowe's or the local greenhouse, we're gonna be out a lot of effort. And then again, a lot of money, like what we were trying to save to begin with. I think the last 2 years, just for our small garden, we've spent $250 to $300 just to fill our garden and halfway fill our freezer. It doesn't even fill it all the way up. I think green beans was the most that we got last year, and we don't even like green beans that much. So we really wanted to do everything right, but at this point we're kind of in limbo with buying this farm. So trying to get everything in pots so it can be moved or transplanted easily without just sticking it in the garden and leaving it behind if we do move. So if you're wondering why I'm behind on everything and I haven't updated you on seeds, that's why. Okay, so I went and filled up all 3 buckets, just enough to cover the bottom. I don't know, it's maybe 3 inches full, because I'm gonna set my seed potatoes on there, and with potatoes being a root vegetable, the roots don't grow downward, they grow upward. So we start at the bottom and then layer the dirt on top. There's a bunch of ways that we've tried growing them. We've tried growing them in stacks of tires. Basically, you start with the bottom layer, fill it with dirt, stick your seed potatoes either in the dirt or actually down in the inside of the tire. And as you see the sprouts, add another tire, add dirt, keep doing it until it's, you know, 4 or 5 tires deep. Tried that method, tried the method of just sticking your seed potatoes down inside of a straw bale, setting it outside. Didn't have anything come out of that. I've tried seed potatoes from the store. Now I'm gonna try them at home. So earlier I said I've chitted my potatoes. No, I'm not saying a bad word, C-H-I-T-T-E-D. But this is essentially what it is. So I'm sure you've bought a potato from the store and it's already got little sprouts growing on it, or you've had it for a week and sprouts start growing. That's basically it. You let the potato grow from its eyes. So I have a whole little container here. I have just red potatoes and Yukon Golds. I chitted these at home, so no, I didn't go buy these at the store. Basically, all that you'll do is let them start growing little eyes. They all have eyes. Let the roots start growing from the eyes. Once you have the little sprouts grown, cut them into chunks. This one's a little bit big, but I couldn't really get a clean cut in between those roots, but cut them into chunks. And then let your cuts heal. So you can see this is kind of gritty looking. It also feels gritty. It's not wet and solid like a cut potato would. This is a little soft, and it just has like a scab over it. So once you've done that, then you can plant them. The reason you have to let them kind of dry and grow that scab is just because if you put a open wound into the dirt, it's more susceptible to get diseases, grow mold, things like that. Now, a few of these pieces have started growing a little bit of white mold. From what I've read, from what I understand, white mold isn't a big deal. You can usually just wipe it off. It's gonna come off once it's actually planted. It's not gonna spread. If you have black mold on your potatoes, throw them out. Do not plant them. That will spread throughout your garden, throughout your bucket of potatoes. So don't plant those, toss them. But basically, yeah, once you've cut them into pieces, I put them in just like a dish straining rack and put them underneath of a dark cabinet. The cooler, the better. Usually 55 degrees is the best way to get your potatoes to go, or even a little bit less. I think it's about 65 where I've stored mine. They've done just fine. So I'm gonna drop these into the dirt. I don't know if all of them will fit, but we'll try. Okay, so 2 more points that I forgot to mention. When planting your seed potatoes, plant them chits up, so roots pointing up. 'Cause like I said, they're root vegetables, the roots grow up, not down. So plant them facing up. And then 2, if you are gonna start your own seed potatoes from the store, so basically going and buying a bag of potatoes that you'd planned on eating, they start sprouting, oh no, you can't eat them now. Get organic potatoes. They won't have the sprout inhibitor spray on them, so they will be able to actually sprout. Non-organic vegetables usually have that spray on them. Sure, you can wash it off, but with potatoes, it's already soaked in. You're probably not gonna have great starts from them. They're probably gonna die once they're in the ground. So make sure you get organic potatoes and chit them from there. Or you can just go to your greenhouse, go to your seed store and buy seed potatoes. So that's my 2 points. But I've got them planted. I had 2 buckets of Yukon Golds, 1 red, and then a whole bunch of seed starters left. I plan on getting a couple more buckets, but still I don't think I'll have enough. I think I might do 2 more buckets, so I'll still have some left over. I'll see if my neighbors want them. Shout out Zach and Taylor. So yeah, now I'm gonna take these back to the garden, fill them up, and get them full with water. Well, my camera fell over, phone fell over, whatever. So I want them to sit right here because that is always where most of the rocks come from. Yes, there are chickens in here, wherever they are. But while we have the garden going, they stay locked up in this area here, which has a lot of rocks. Of course, chickens scratch, they scratch the rocks out. It's in the garden, it makes a mess, it makes it really difficult to till. But yeah, I want them sitting up here. Since other stuff doesn't grow very well, these can grow here in a bucket. They'll have sun, they'll have shade, they'll have wind, rain, whatever they need to actually grow. And they're kind of out of the way of the house. They are pretty color, but I don't want to look at them all the time. So I'm just going to take some of this soil. This is actually compost from the barn. We have been growing since, not growing, but adding to all winter. We come down here, we till it up a couple times, and it's the most rich, deep, beautiful soil you've ever seen, filled with amazing red worms. Really great for gardening. So I'm just gonna scoop some of this up, top off the buckets, and then add water, obviously. And over here is my mulch bin. I'm gonna add, where's it at? Over there. I'm gonna add some mulch to the top of them as well, and see how they go. So as you can see, each bucket is about half full now. So took up a couple inches of dirt, potatoes, more dirt, and mulch. Well, your mulch looks more like dirty straw, you say. It is. It's not straw, it's hay. This is actually waste from, like I said, the barn. Usually we'll put it out here and it'll look more like this, which to you guys, I'm sure it just looks like dirt, but the chickens till it up, and literally mulch it up. Then we till it, rake down whatever's here, till it again, rake down whatever's here, and then put it over here to try to keep it mostly dry. It's easier to work with when it's dry, not when it's wet. But then we just put it down around our plants instead of consistently tilling and hoeing out your garden. It keeps the weeds down, plus it provides nutrients because yes, it does have poop in it. Yes, it has pee in it. Yes, it has a lot of nutrients from our livestock. But this is fresh. I had one half a wheelbarrow full that I could put in here, and I didn't want to put it in our freshly tilled garden that I just cleaned up. So yeah, that's seed potatoes starting. Now I'm gonna go in and show you the seedlings that aren't seedlings anymore. So that's all of our plants being hardened off outside. But the wind's picking up again, so I'm going. So I'm in our spare bedroom now. All of our plants that are left to actually harden off and go outside are in here. So nice little setup. I've got my fans going. They come on for a couple hours a day. Another tip for once you get them to this point, little spray bottle. Spray these off 2 or 3 times a day. You don't need them to stay super wet as far as the actual soil itself, because it can cause root rot, and you don't want that, especially early on in a plant's life, because it might survive just long enough to go outside and then die on you. So spray the leaves, get you one of these. They're pretty nice, just a couple times a day. I did invest in a second grow light. My last video I only have one. I now have 2, and this one actually has 2 bulbs instead of just the one. Like I said, the fans come on twice a day, a couple hours each time, just they're getting to mimic what would happen once they're outside. So the hardening off process isn't so hard. I'm gonna sort these out, take them outside as they need to go, sort them out, what I want to keep, what I want to sell. I also have a garden going for my mom, but this is all that we're gonna grow until we start growing for our fall garden. Our fall garden I feel like might be a little bit better. We've never done one, but if we're changing farms, we can't plant a whole lot here, but we would be able to for a fall garden at our new farm. So hopefully I can put all of these tips and tricks into another batch of seedlings and do well for a fall garden. I'm not gonna show you clips of me taking these outside, sorting them out and all that stuff, because that's kind of boring. But I will add clips of swapping the seedlings out from their egg cartons into these cups. I'll link where I got them, all that stuff, what I do to them, what kind of dirt I use. I'll link that below so you guys can see. But hopefully this helped you guys. If you have any comments or questions, I'm still learning, but I might have experienced something that you're having problems with and I know how to fix it. Maybe I'm having a problem or I'm doing something wrong that you know too. So comment, let me know. Bye. Okay, so I am back outside and I brought my seedlings, a couple different things. This one is zucchini. These are some little peppers. Looks like these are the California Wonder bell peppers. So I have those ready to go. I have my baked dirt, my sterilized dirt. I did this a couple days ago, so it has cooled down obviously, but it's nice and powdery now. So to start, what I do, I have these solo cups. So they're just small little, looks like they're 9-ounce solo cups. So I'm starting with those. Adjust this a little bit so you can see me. There we go. So I'm taking those and a pair of scissors, fairly sharp scissors. Where'd that dog go? Hey, Hauser, get over here. And these cups have little grooves on the bottoms. So you can see right here. And I'm taking the scissor and I'm just snapping that corner off. So see that? And it puts a little hole in it. So that hole is going to let the water drain out if you water it from the top, but the best way to water them is from the bottom. So setting them inside of like a baking dish, something like that, fill the baking dish with water, the plant will then soak it up from the bottom. That's the best way. I do it both ways. I'll fill it up and then let it soak up from the bottom as it dries out. But yeah, that's what I do to start, and then I'm writing whatever the plant is on the outside of the cup with a paint marker. So this one's already marked, it's already cut. So I'll go on ahead get a decent scoop of dirt and pack it down. Handy dandy spoon here, nothing fancy. And I'll make a little hole about the size of what my seedling roots and all will be, because you don't want to disturb the seedling roots. That's usually how you end up killing them, is disturbing them, breaking them off, and they just don't thrive from there. So I make a nice little hole right like that. And then I'll take my spoon, really see it, scoop out my plant, pop it down in there, rake some dirt back up around the base of the plant, and there you have it. So I will back up and show you a couple views from the top so you can completely see what I'm doing, but I'll just do that. I'll take it back in, set it on my pan under the grow light. I'll water it. I just use plain water until they start getting their true leaves. Now, true leaves are like this. So this is a tomato plant here. And you can see it's seedling leaves right here. They're kind of plain. They don't show you what the plant is really. Now these leaves here, you can actually tell that is a tomato plant. So once they start getting those leaves is whenever you can actually start using fertilizer, and the plant will be utilizing the fertilizer. Otherwise, before that, the plant doesn't really do much with the fertilizer. So now that these guys have their true leaves, I'm actually going to separate them out. I have about 3 per cup. I'm going to separate them out so they don't get root bound or tangled up, and put them in separate containers. But for right now, I'm going to finish up these egg carton plants real quick. So one other thing I wanted to show you real quick. I know these cups are fairly large for a tiny seedling like that, so you can do some plants, a couple, 3, 4 plants per cup. Now all that I do with that is kind of same process, but obviously I'm not going to use a spoon because I'm going to separate each seedling out by the roots. There's a goat climbing on the tractor out there. I'm going to separate them by the roots and actually plant them fairly far apart inside the cup, just so that as they get bigger, their roots aren't going to get tangled up. And there again, whenever I go to transplant them, whether it's into a bigger pot or to the garden directly, I'm not disturbing that root system as much. So all I do is pack the dirt down, as so, and then I'll take an ink pen or just my finger and poke a small little hole down in there, just big enough to fit the seedling in. I'll do that all the way around. And this is kind of hard to do with one hand. Usually I hold the cup and use a Sharpie. A Sharpie is the perfect size to stick down in there, kind of wobble it around so it packs the dirt, and then drop your seedling in. So I'll show you that here. So instead of disturbing the roots, like I said, you don't want to try to pull these up directly. You want to loosen this dirt up. So I'll take this out and just real lightly separate the plant. So you see this one has a small little root system going on, so you really don't want to disturb that too much. So I'll drop it down into one of my little holes here. And same thing with this guy. This one has a really small root system. Drop him down in there. And then just kind of fill that hole in very lightly because you don't want to bend or break the plant itself, because then you're pretty much starting from square one and have to do new seeds. But same thing, got that down in there. Now I'll go set this under the plant light and I'll water it and watch it grow.